Good morning, folks. How are you? Yes. Oh my God, my eyes look so tired today. Um, so I had talked about wanting to. Hey, Claire, I see you. Dennis. I talked about wanting to respond to Lisa Gaitho's video. I'm gonna have to do this in a pretty short amount of time because Huru has just had his breakfast. I've just taken him upstairs to get him bathed and dressed, and as soon as that happens, which is usually in like 10 minutes or less, we have to take him to playgroup. So I usually do it, but today I asked the nanny to help out. Hey Ronald, hey Nina, Ryan, how are you, my dear? Boniface, hey morning, how are you guys doing? I love how there's so many of you up bright and early. I won't take very long, like I said, probably 5-6 minutes. And here's a spoiler alert. I'm not going to throw shade at Lisa Guy, though. I don't throw shade. I think those of you who've been following me for a while, that is not my style. I don't throw shade at people. Even if people come at me, I'm not going to publicly throw shade. When I usually respond is when I feel like it's gotten a reaction across the board, or if it's something that affects a very big group of people. I remember when Adele Onyango was, there was a Facebook post that was so disrespectful around rape culture, and I responded. I didn't care if I got flack. I just felt like that's a much larger issue than me. And so this one as well. Morning. Morning, Jay Tale. Morning. I'm going to keep interrupting my messaging by saying hello to everyone. Justice Florence, thank you very much for your compliment. And so, yeah, so Lisa Gaitho is a YouTuber. The Gaitho sisters are pretty well known in their own way. They're very smart. They're all in media, I believe. And they're also strong women. So it's not like I'm trying to grab them. Okay, so Emily says, my humble opinion, I'd be happy to bathe my man to appreciate him, not because he will pay back. Do it for love. It's so crazy that you said that because that's what I was coming to. Here's the thing. A lot of what Lisa said in her video, and I'm going to literally pay reference to the Bible. So if there's people here who don't pay reference to the Bible or etc., they may not really understand this, and it's okay, to each his own. The Bible is very clear about submission. And I think it's something that, it's probably one of the most misunderstood words, because submission sometimes is confused for being subservient. And subservient is what a lot of women have an issue with. Why am I bending over backwards for you? Why am I bathing you? Why am I cleaning your ears? Why am I neatening your shoes? The way I understand submission, and the way I always have, is you do it out of love. And if again we're referring to the Bible, I'm not very clear on the verses, it's quite a number. It says wives to submit to your husbands and husbands to love your wives. I think the issue is when a woman says, I feel like I do so much for him and he doesn't really do anything for me in return. He's sitting around not looking for a job. He's playing me. He's got other women in his life, so I'm not going to do that. Now, I remember just before I got married, if I'm to talk a little bit about my own experience, I sat with a group of aunties, which, by the way, I resisted. I was just one of those people who's like, really? You want me to sit and be told how to run my home? I resisted it, but it is probably the best thing that I ever did. These are women who've been married 20, 30, 40 years. Again, I'll keep interrupting my story with, say some things come naturally when you love someone. I agree. And so we spent a couple of hours together, and they said, look, we're not stupid to have been in marriages for 20, 30, 40 years. We have weathered a lot of storms with these men. We have been through so much with these men, but there's certain foundations that we laid a long time ago that have kept this bond going. And one of the things they mentioned was submission. The underscore Mwesh says, wives submit to husbands, not girlfriends to boyfriends. I'm going to come to that as well, but thank you for your feedback. And please keep sending your feedback. In a nutshell, Lisa talked about her in her video, saying that if you want to keep a man, if you want him to treat you right, if you want him to buy you all the things that you want, then you need to, and I don't know whether she used the word submit, but maybe she did, but you need to go over and above in terms of how you pamper him, how you make him feel. And it was so many mixed reactions because she explained examples of what to do. And I think the one that really got people was the bathe him, oil him, clean his ears. I think everything else, like the cooking and the affirming of him, people didn't have a problem with. So anyway, what I came to understand is when you love someone and they love you back, there's a lot of mutual respect. So if, for instance, you're the kind of woman who wants to cater to him, then it comes from your heart, and he genuinely appreciates you and loves you back in his own way, then I think that's okay. Let me see. There's people who want to join the conversation. So I'm just gonna, okay. I'm gonna go live with y'all. These are things that I don't really, um, yes. What I'm trying to say is she wasn't too far off. What made people uncomfortable, I think, is two things. One, she was talking about girlfriends doing this for boyfriends for transactional reasons, for money. She made that pretty clear. In her video, she says, it's not like you can afford the lifestyle you want off the bat. And if you want that kind of lifestyle, then you've got to bend over backwards to get it in return. Rainy Drope says, truth and also compassion, forgiveness, and mending thing, and not throwing it away. Um, and so, personally, I've grown up seeing submission. When I grew up, I saw my mom do certain things for my dad that were very seamless. I would see her, for instance, serving him food. I would see, for instance, her sometime, making him breakfast, taking it to the room. But in return, I saw a man who really loved his wife. So in return, he would treat her with respect all the time, whether it was in front of us, whether it was behind the scenes. There was always mutual respect. I have a problem with submission when there's elements of physical, emotional abuse. I don't think that's worth it. Lisa didn't say that. I'm just adding my own thoughts. The other thing that I may have a slight concern about the video is doing it for money. Now, I really want to hear your thoughts on this because um, she was saying, again, if you want a certain lifestyle, then you bend over backwards. My hope is that this man is treating you right, not just buying you things. He's loving you right back in return. He's um, making you feel appreciated. Um, I am that Jose says the only problem was to equate or compare submission to material in return, and that's what I'm saying. That's the one thing I had an issue with, is submitting in order to get material things. However, you know what? To each his own. I just don't think it's the right message to send across. There might be a 19, 20, 21-year-old girl who wants the fast life now. She'll get a boyfriend, and she may start bending over backwards. Um, you know, in a way that she's not even ready to do, in a way that she doesn't even understand why she's doing it, and it may be taken for granted. That could break you. That could really break you because you're saying, well, then I'm just gonna, I'm sorry, I'm looking at comments. You can wash his ears, but it's his personality and values that will keep him. If he's a bad person, you'll do everything, but you'll still be treated badly. Thank you. That's the thing. This man has to not only buy you things and take you to Dubai, etc. He has to treat you well. My mom always washed my dad's feet. In return, he was an exceptional husband. We need to find what works for us and our partners do it. I agree with you, Charlene Jerry. That's what I grew up seeing. True story. I grew up seeing exactly what you've said is elements of mutual respect, elements of mutual love and understanding. And that's the only part of Lisa's video that I felt wasn't properly explained. You know what I mean? It just kind of seemed like if you have a man and you're looking for monetary compensation, you're looking for certain trips to certain places, you're looking to buy your dream apartment, then this is what you should do. I just don't think that's good advice. I really don't. I think the reason why Lisa has some things right is she has the basics of submission, treating a man right. By the way, bathing him and washing his feet, for me personally, I don't see it as a bad thing if it's on occasion, his birthday, Valentine's Day. And by the way, there's some women who don't mind doing it every day. They don't mind. They genuinely don't mind. It's in some cultures. Some women just genuinely feel like that's their love language. I'm gonna take Whitney is asking, how do you know you're on the right path when it comes to a relationship? When you're being treated right, my dear. At the end of the day, you're gonna know when you're being treated you know what I mean. You are going to know when you're being mistreated, and if you're unhappy, you're unhappy. You shouldn't be in that relationship. The 5 love languages: words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, receiving gifts, and acts of service. Guys, after this video, go and Google the five love languages. Mrs. Baraka says, great thoughts on the subject. I only agree with submission to the extent that mutual respect is fostered. Exactly. So maybe her language, as Lisa, is acts of service. She loves to, oh, sorry, someone here saying, my boyfriend got annoyed with me, have asked for forgiveness, he can't forgive me. What should I do? Oh, honey, I'm not a relationship expert, my dear. And maybe at some point I'll do a YouTube video on that. Tella Wangeshi says, I believe that love comes in the purest forms, not in a form where you give love in exchange of material things. As a teenager, I believe the video wasn't right because it sent the wrong message. So as a teen, yeah, exactly. And as a teen, you're still also not 100% sure or understand what this whole thing around submission means. For me, as someone who's married, even though it's been like for 2 days, I get it. I get submission. I respect submission. I believe in submission. I only believe in it if there's mutual respect. I feel submitting coming for married couple, not dating. For the book, to me, what was wrong was doing it when you're dating. Okay, so again, you have a problem with submission if it's in a relationship. Derek Omach, my fellow men, love your lady unconditionally and she will submit to you. There you go, Derek. I feel like high-fiving you through the screen. Men, submission comes when there's love in return. Women, submit to your husbands. Husbands, love your wives. I have seen submission work in relationships. Like I said, my own parents hasn't been perfect, obviously. No marriage is. But they've been together 40 years. Submission plays a big role in that. So please research the five love languages. Lisa's could very well be acts of service. By the way, I don't even know if she's going to come at me after this. I'm not throwing shade. I actually agreed with elements in her video about treating a man right and affirming him. So hers is acts of service where she feels like if you pamper him, if you cook for him, if you submit to him in a way that you're presenting acts of service, then in return, he will treat you like a queen. There's some truth to that. The only issue I have, again, is doing it for monetary gain. I just feel like it doesn't send the right message. For you who's watching, maybe your love language is receiving gifts. Maybe that's also her love. Apparently, everyone has two love languages that they give and two that they like in return. Can I talk about mine? I love quality time and words of affirmation. That makes me feel special. What do I like to give in return? I actually like to do acts of service. I do. I don't mind, you know, serving my man food. I don't mind making sure he's okay, he's feeling good. And also physical touch. TMI, huh? Men love words of affirmation. Men love physical touch. It's oh my gosh. Hang on. I I'm almost done. I'm almost done. Mommyhood comes. So in a nutshell, Bonarim says, even at your best, you'll never be right for the wrong person. True. My internet is so bad. Oh, I'm sorry. Going as per the Bible submissions. Um, you're supposed to hold on to it for a bit. Everybody say hi to Huru. Hi. There you go. There he is. I thank you, Emily, Nina, Ryan. Thank you so much. I'll have a good day. I've been in a relationship for 4 months and I do submit to my boyfriend to some extent. I would love to hear more about that. Guys, I think I should do a YouTube video on this. I submission is largely misunderstood. You'll find especially the voices of feminists. I love feminists. I consider myself one to some extent. Chimamanda Adichie Ngozi has talked a lot about it. And it's skewed when it becomes an issue that you're doing it and you're being mistreated or you're doing it for the wrong reasons. But submission in itself is not a bad thing. I really don't believe it is. Guys, I might have to log out. I hope you understood where I was coming from. In a nutshell, submission, if there is mutual respect, is okay. Secondly, preferably within a marital context, but maybe you're dating someone and you're deeply in love and you guys are in love with each other, that's okay. But seek a lot of counsel from older people and say, I'm 21 years old, my boyfriend is 23, I love him so much, we're thinking of getting married someday, and I feel like doing all these amazing things for him. Tell me I'm not crazy. It's likely that they'll say, as long as you're doing it out of and maintaining your dignity, a feminism and submission YouTube video will work, and maybe a giveaway of the book. Oh, okay, what book? Okay, right. Yes, the Five Love Languages book. Thank you. That's a really good suggestion. That's a really, really good suggestion. I'm gonna do that. Feminism, submission, and I'll give out a copy of the 5 love languages. I believe everyone who's in a relationship should understand the love language of your partner, and they should understand yours. That's where the things tend to get messy, and it doesn't happen overnight. I'm still learning my husband's, he's still learning mine. But as long as you have an idea, then I think you're on the right path. You know what I mean? Because otherwise, if you don't, then you'll always be wondering, why doesn't he get me? And he'll always be wondering, why doesn't she get me? But if you can see you've been together with this person for a while, and they respond to physical touch and they respond to words of affirmation, in return, if you're not getting what you want, tell him. For me, respond to me with quality time. Respond to me with physical touch, because that's what I respond to in my relationship. So, Lisa's video, the only thing that I would say I had an issue with was doing it in for monetary return. But if it's a transactional relationship in that way or whatever way, then maybe she had her point. But her talking about some points and elements of submission, she was actually right. And I don't think that's something a lot of people want to make peace with, but she was actually right. So I have to go because Mr. Man, who is it almost time for you to go to playgroup? Okay. Am I keeping you? You want to come say bye to people? Do you want to sit on me? Wait, hang on. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, such a big boy. Say bye. Bye. See, have a nice day, guys. Have a nice day, guys. Did you guys, if you guys agree or like this video, let me know. I can see a few of you have already requested a YouTube video on submission, feminism. Moses says, how will you know if she's submitting to your pocket? That's a good question. It really is a good question. Look at this one, derailing my video. Why are you laughing? So I need to go drop Huru at playgroup, but um, yeah, I think let's keep talking about this because there's some basic. Oh my gosh, no, 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 Huru. There are some fundamentals that. Okay, you're just being cheeky. um, I love you guys very much. And somebody here is being cheeky. I have to go. Let's have this discussion again. Thank you guys for logging into my Insta Live. And I guess I'll see you guys next time. I have a new video up on Friday. And I've already filmed for next week. Okay, so I need to toddler calls. All right, guys, my YouTube channel, for those who don't know, is Official Janet Bugwa. It's official Janet Bugwa. That's the name of my YouTube. Please subscribe. I love that you guys are following my journey there, and I love interacting with you guys in this way. So let us call it a day, and I will see you guys back here soon.